Hello everybody. Welcome back to school. And actually it's also my first day teaching San Jose State. Thanks. Yeah. So this class will be DSID 10131, interactive design. Just to let you guys notice that the class will be videotaped. So if any one of you guys don't want to be included, let me know. So I will make sure we don't post anything with your image online. Yeah. So I introduce a little bit about myself to you guys. My name is Tingbin Tang. So actually you have all the three letters, three words in English, even though it's a Chinese name. So tin in English means tin, right? Tin is a sun, right? Bin is a box, which I suppose is to use to store a lot of crazy ideas, right? And Tang is my family name, and it used to be a very powerful dynasty in China, Tang dynasty. And in English, it's a very famous Jewish, like very famous Jew. I don't know if you guys can try that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So that makes you guys easy to remember my name. Yeah. I was industrial designer, like you guys, and that was one of the design I designed after my graduate school in the States, in Georgia. That was like 10 years ago, and it's called Sendorm, which enable you to send smell over the internet. And by doing that design, we received a lot of awards, and it was reported by Time magazine as well. You guys can search Sendorm online or my name on the internet. In a lifetime, it was the first before September 11, before the first part of the internet. So every people is crazy about the new internet ideas, new innovations. So in Georgia, this company, and they wanted to bring smell to the internet. So I joined the company when they were very small. And whenever I talk to people, they say that's impossible to send the smell, But even if you send right now with the computer, you can receive images, receive voice, right? Everything, we are not actually sending the image or voice through the internet. We're sending a signal, right? We send a signal to a computer, then the computer re-simulate the image, re-simulate the voice, right? So the smell is the same thing. So with this product, we have a cartridge with different fragrance oil in it, and then with a software, you can adjust the amount of and the concentration of the fragrance oil, and with a fan to wipe the smell to So, but that company didn't survive because after September 11, they have a problem to get more funding coming in. They still have a patent, and I know they just sold their company to a California-based company. And at that time, actually, there was another company in California called DigiSense, and they collected, I believe, it was like $30 million investment, and with less than 3 years, they burned every money, every cent. Then the funders run away to moved to Canada, because what they want to do was they say whenever we receive the smell, actually it's electronic to your how to say sensor in your nose, you know. So they try to simulate the biomical simulations, you know. So they're not actually. Yes, they are doing a more high-tech way, but they didn't make the product happen, you know. But we but even if we really made this happen, the company still didn't survive. But you know, yeah, it was reported by many magazines, many media, and was also collected by Chicago Athletic Museum. So with that experience, you know, I learned a lot of things. So I know sometimes a cool idea is not enough. You know, the idea is really a cool idea, and we actually come up with a product, you know, and it works, you know. Even though we only have 20 channel of cartridges, we only can simulate about 200 smells, you know. But we can replace the cartridge to different fragrance oils, you know. So we can simulate a lot of smells. And when you play car racing, maybe you can smell the burning rubber, you know. It can use for movies, you know. When you see some kind of movie, you smell it as well, you know. Or you can while you're playing games, yeah. And a lot of time we also work with NASA to build a scent museum for the children to study the natural animals, flowers, and also get smell, you know. But anyway, sometimes cool ideas is not enough. It's also got to be right timing, and also got to be you got to have a strong market demand. You know, sometimes it's really good product, really good ideas, and really has some people want to use it. But is that demand big enough for you to sustain the business? You know. Yeah, that was a good lesson. Yeah.
I have a question. I have a couple questions. First, would the consumer buy the fragrance packet then? Okay.
Yeah.
Second, what's the advantage of smell-o-vision?
Okay. Yeah, the product was available to order online at that time, and it's 260 for the Centron, and 69 for each cartridge. You know, and we did several games to help to sell the product. So when you play the game, you can smell it as well. And ideally, our idea is, you know, so we hope it can be a standard hardware, that accessory to your computer. So when you at the Valentine's Day, when you send it, you know, when you receive e-rose from your boyfriend, you will smell it as well, you know, greeting cards. And also for advertisement, maybe like if you go to a McDonald's website, you feel the fries, you know.
So you're paying to advertise for somebody else?
Yeah, we need to think about the business model, you know. But at that time, we haven't gone that far, you know. We see all the possibilities.
Gotcha.
But it's not a must, you know. Do people have that? It's not, you know. We have to see the image, we have to listen to the audio, but we may not have to smell, right? So yeah. So before coming here, I also used to teach in a college in Beijing, Central Academy of Fine Arts. it's the best art and design school in China because it's central, Because in China, anything called central means it's directly related to the central government. Means you can get a lot of support, money, everything from central government. Central is bigger than China. Yeah. That was me, and I was organizing an event. At that time, I was the founder and director for transportation design program. Because Central California didn't have this program, so they had me take this responsibility to study this program. So, Professor Patrick from CCS and also guys from BMW, Mercedes, our museum. And this was a government car, and personally I designed this car. It's not in the market. Yeah. And I was teaching in the college, in the school, and I need my students participate because I always believe in learning through doing. So I need my students participate in some corporate projects. We work with Nissan Paradigm, redesign the Paradigm. And also, we work with DFAC, Dongfeng Automobile Manufacturer, design the MPV multifunction passenger vehicle. And that was the Olympic bus. That was already on the road and was designed with my students, And this was by one of my school students, and he put the truck, the front of the tractor with the back of a motorcycle, and it works, and it's very cool, And we also received a lot of awards, blah blah, and a lot of media attention and all the things. That was me during that time. And but there was an article, I don't know if you guys have read that, said CEOs must be designers, not just to hire them, And I just talked, before the class, I just talked to Andrew, and he said sometimes the boss are not listening to designers. They make designers a CEO, Why? Because I believe currently the challenge for a business is no longer technology. Technology is not a barrier anymore. You can always find the right talent to be able to implement your ideas. But who can make sure your idea will be winning in the market? I believe as a designer, we've been told, we have learned how to study the market, how to understand the users. We understand human factors, we understand the marketing, we understand business skills, So if a designer has good business sense, I believe can be a very good CEO, like Steve Jobs, We all know he was a graphic designer, and even he didn't finish his class, right? I know like CEO, like Steve Jobs, he maybe cannot draw any interface anymore. He cannot write a single code, right? But for so many years, he has been thinking about users, thinking about how to make your product appealing to the user, to make them crazy about your products they are willing to buy, right? I think that's what he been learning after so many failures, Yeah. And I think that's what we have been learning as a designer, right? I never like position designer as a graphic guy. That's not what we are doing, We tend to visualize what we have in mind, but we are not a graphic guy. We are designing a whole business, right? So that's also why for so many years I've been running my own company. My company is called Piao Piao, which means people and people. You can visit my website, piaopiao.com. As you say, since the establishment of my company, I've been paying a lot of attention to people. And that's why how I position my company, how I position myself. Is to work for people, to study people, to learn people. And our business process is from research to design to prototyping to validation to testing and validation. So we have, during the past 6 to 7 years, we have been working with a lot of companies, especially a lot of them are Fortune 500 companies. And we have been done more than 100 products, So I know even today my company's major base are still in Beijing with 30 employees. And by being in Beijing, I think we'll be able to work with a lot of international clients, big companies. So we've been working with companies like Nokia, Lenovo, China Telecom, GE, LG, So I created, through my own experience, through my understanding with the products, how to bring a product to the market and how to ensure its success. So this is my overall process, and I'm going to teach this process in this class. So first we will discover the market, discover the users, understand what's your target market, what will and why your users, what they want and when they use it, how they use it, and then create the concept, create the business concept. Then we do prototype, we do testing, validate. Then it might iterate, depending on how you finalize your product. Then you go to development stage. Even at the development stage, we combine a little bit with agile development. So you also validate the market during the development stage. But of course, as a design company, our main focus is the design stage, because the two iterations. First iteration is at the design stage. Second iteration is the developing stage. So our main focus is developing design stage. At design stage, we will do the market research, user studies. We build the personas, analyze the scenario, user story. We use different ways, like competitor research and analysis. We do focus group, surveys, different way to observe, to find out. Then when we design, we analyze the task flow, use case, information architecture, layouts, graphics, And then the first iterations, we normally do a low fidelity prototype. The second or later iteration, we build high fidelity prototype. Use this to validate the market. And we also use different ways to do the testing. Usability testing. Like use one-way mirror or use more different software, or we use eye tracking equipment, or maybe virtual reality. Yeah. So we hope a lot of companies to understand, to get a deep insight about culture, about the different group segment of people. I've been working with many international brands, like for example, actually my competitors are like McKinsey, or IDEO or fraud, because they are in China. I'm lucky I'll be able to compete with them. Sometimes with me, because as I understand, we understand at least the local market better. Like one project we research for insurance market, and another competitor is also a US company. I forgot the name. They segment China users to 5 group of users, and I said that's impossible. But China is not like US. In the US, every people live in a similar lifestyle. I used to live in the East Coast, now West Coast. I used to live in Chicago, blah, blah. Everywhere you see people drive a car. Some people use car, some people luxury car. But no matter how, at least you drive a car, right? Most people have a yacht, right? Most people, unless you are living in an apartment, most houses has a yacht. Yeah, some people have normally carpet on the floor. Normally has a stove, has some structure in the yard, has a fan with some chain, right? It's all similar, every house is similar. But China is totally different. It is so complicated. I also used to do some research about the Indian market when we do a project for agriculture projects with Nokia. It's also a lot different, So it's hardly you can divide people into 5 segments. Say this higher class, this middle class, this business class, this young class. No, that's not the case. Even we have an old saying said it's not an old saying, it's the truth. Like every 10 miles, people speak a different language. Maybe it's not a different language, but it's a different dialogue, different way of speaking, So we spend a lot more to help the companies to localize the products, We also use different tools, different ways. Like I just mentioned, we use eye tracking, we use virtual reality, we use one-way mirror to observe. But no matter how, that's still not very precise, because when you recruit and invite the users to your lab, when they put them in front of the camera, they start behaving not naturally, right? So that's why we even developed we call it a tracking tools. So with this application, we recruit the users. So if you are willing to participate, you install this software to your phone. We sign an agreement, of course, because after you install this application on your phone, any behavior you are doing, I will know. I know when you turn on, turn off your phone, how many phone calls you make a day, how many text messages you send out, and how long the phone call lasts, how you open the different mobile apps, how you go to the mobile browser, go to which URL, Of course, it's all on the application layer. It's not on the content layer. So for privacy issue, I don't want to know what exactly content you have been doing. But so this way I can observe like 10,000 of users at one time, or even more, and I can analyze the data, right? And the users still using that in their normal way, They still at their normal life. That's one way we've been doing as well to study users. We hope the companies to come out with different innovation strategies. Even though so many companies say we cannot based on our own hypothesis, but still many businessmen distinctly understand the user, distinctly understand the market. They use their own experience to judge their target users. So I still see a lot of companies fails. Actually, we've been as I just mentioned, we've been working with clients for over 100 applications. But sorry, most of them failed after that. Sometimes it's not about design and how we can do it. It's also about their management team, their bosses, their vision, But we are trying our best to help them understand, So trying to help them come up with the right innovation strategies. Of course, we do the usability testing, information architect, to help the products have a clear structure, clear flow. Of course, the interaction design, So even today's class, this semester class is interactive design class, but I tend to say it's maybe it's a product design and development class, and then the interaction, how people interact, is just part of that. Because I believe the interaction is not just between the interfaces; it's also between among the services, service provider, and normally you use the application provider service, and also the target, the end users, right? Interface design, So this was one phone that we designed for LG, So even though before I was an industrial designer, I don't want to. Separate myself from the industrial design or interaction design or whatever, It doesn't matter, Even on iPhone, it has industrial design, interaction design as well. The main purpose is come out with the right product, be able to sell, be able to make money, right? So this was a simple idea is that even the keyboard become a touchpad, and also normally whenever you have a phone call, normally and in your gene, you normally come up with this, so you see the incoming call number on top, so you don't have to take the phone out. Some simple ideas. This was an MID we designed for China Mobile. So both the ID and also the interface was designed by us. It's for it's a MID, it's 5-inch. It's for business people. So we spend a lot of time to understand what kind of application business people want, what's their daily life, for how to best help for the managing their business, And this was also a product we worked with a company, they work with Bank of China. What about you lose your bank card and the guy maybe or somebody get to know your PIN number, So with this product, it reads your fingerprints. Each time it reads your fingerprints, it gives you a dynamic password. So you don't need to create a password. You don't need to remember a password. Every time give you a dynamic password, and it only lasts for 1 minute. After that, it expires. So we also did some cosmic readers, mobile readers on iPhone and iPad. This was a project we did with China Telecom and also MSN. MSN Microsoft just closed MSN Messenger, right? Because they lose market. Yeah. But anyway, that time this project was for them. There's a joint program called eLife, provide mobile and tools. I don't know if you guys know. MSN lose the market, and they cannot fight with another AIM tools in China called QQ. I don't know how many people use that or know that. QQ at the beginning was a copycat of QSQ, But then, last time I gave a talk at the Twitter, and my topic was Twitter's China clone and re-innovation. We know China has many clones of U.S. products, but actually that's not exactly the case. The case is the copycats, they learn, but they also localize. They understand the China market better, so that's why they win the market. So at that time we also did some consultants to Microsoft. We said why MSN Messenger is losing market in China. Why QQ is making so much money. With QQ you can send very big files to your friend just by dragging the large file to his QQ, his name in a QQ list, and it's very quick. And also QQ is targeted at the low end income people. Nowadays there's so many people to go to China market want to make a fortune. So they go there, they develop their business, and most of them lose. Many of them has a MBA from Harvard, from Yale, and they lose. Why? Because they build a product, they try to target the people in the big cities, so-called white-collar people, people work in the office, make good money, good income. And the case is, those people don't want to pay money. Because the housing, the housing price in Beijing, Shanghai is so expensive. It's much more expensive than California, the Bay Area. And the income compared to it is not that high. Even maybe it's higher than second-tier city in China or rural market in China. But all the so-called white-collar people, they are suffering from all the things, so they don't want to pay. And they know the technology. They always can find a way to get no need to pay service, So, but when we do the research, there are many people like many people work in the manufacturers. They only make like $300 per month, and they are waiting to pay like $0.25 for application. Why? Because those people they normally live in the manufacturer's dormitory. In the dormitory, normally like 10 people living in one room, and they don't have any entertainment. They don't have a TV in house. What they can do? Spend time with the phone. And that's the only thing they can do, So they waiting to pay 2 yuan for a game, or $1 for a game, or even for a book, for an e-book. They are willing to pay, and that's how QQ target at the low-income person. We call grassroots person, and limit money. And MSN targeted at the office people, and they lose the market, And another thing is that how you do social, Do social is like when you get a lot of lower income people, and they have more friends in the big cities and blah blah. Then little by little, a lot of more, even the people, white collar people, tend to use QQ instead of MSN. Yeah. Anyway, mobile readers, it's also a project for China Mobile. We also did a mobile app store for China Telecom. It was the MID for the Wii Fund for China Telecom, for business people, and we did many widgets. So every time when you click read, it opens up, and you can quick access to some widgets, some applications that your free press used. People can hear me, right? Okay. If any questions, stop me anytime.
So are we at any point going to be looking at a syllabus or?
Oh yeah. Have you guys get a copy of syllabus?
No.
Not yet. Oh, okay. I didn't know. Okay.
Normally it gets passed out on the first day.
Oh, sorry. I didn't know. I
No,
didn't
we
know.
have like a digital syllabus that we download.
Okay, and where is it?
It's, what is it this year? They added some more to the URL.
It's usually D2L.
It's on D2L. It's also on that other page though. Documents. It's /documents/free sheets. I don't know what the exact URL is. It's maybe even on a form outside of a door. You can look on the news page on it.
Yeah, I
It's a
uploaded.
separate program, so we don't.
Oh, okay. I uploaded online, but frankly, the San Jose State one system
Yeah,
the user
it's-
experience is
yeah.
bad, and every time I have to remember my ID, and I don't remember that number. And when I put in my password, the password has to have some letters long, and also has to have a capital letter, has to have a symbol, has to have some. No, and I really don't remember.
Right, I mean, there is desire to learn without any question, but like when I teach here, I just simply email everybody and say, here. That's me.
Okay, sorry, it's my first time for teaching. I even don't have you guys' email yet. Okay. This was a project called content management application we did for China Telecom as well. So, because you all know, nowadays we have so many contacts. We have Facebook contacts, we have Twitter contacts, we have email contacts, right? We have our phone book contacts. So it makes so complicated. So we developed this app for you to manage all the contacts. And if their name or number are the same, the system will notice you to combine them as one, together. And we even give a very old-fashioned way for you to make a phone call.
Does it actually work?
Yeah.
Does it actually work? Like, do you have to go like?
Actually, you don't have to. You can do that, but you also can click. Those works. So I give a subtitle for this class. It's called User Experience Center Product Design and Development. No, I think that's more what I want to do. Not just about the interactive. So when we talk about interactive, we know how interactive is. Interactive has which means between, means interfere, intermediate, means between something, between somebody, between some people and something, and also has active, means it has to give a response, has to give some feedback, has to work with each other, So that's why when you say interactive, it means it's between two stuff and they interact, they take action, feedback, send a message, react to each other. Of course, nowadays we tend to mean many for computer, human computer, right? So how we interact normally means communicate, means communication, right? So I go to the Wikipedia. It says the communication is to send some information, right? through the exchange of source messages by speech, visual, signal, writing, or behavior, right? So even when we say computer and human, or mobile and human, it's the same thing. We're trying to let the computer understand what you want them to do. We try to let you understand what kind of message they're sending back to you, right? And so they can proceed your command, right? They can provide feedback, and you know if your command has been proceeded, right? So you've got to have sender, a message, and a respect. Right. Okay, so we just mentioned communication. So you've got to have a language. When you talk about communication, you've got to have a language, right? So we already have different languages for humans, English, Chinese, Spanish. Yeah. So a language, we also have different computer languages, right? PHP, Java, C. So when you talk about languages, to let the other party to understand your meaning, so they know what you want. So normally it has different rules, has some symbols or signs, right? So like the sign languages is also part of the language. You guys know how to say "I love you" in sign languages? Yeah, that's normally how people do it. Or you can say, if I remember it right, "I love you." Yeah. Anyway, So what you want to do is that you develop this for people to communicate with the machine. But the main purpose is to let them have a very good user experience. So a user experience is about how they feel, right? It's got to be experiential. Affective means, it's really affect your behavior, affect your daily life, affect the computer system. Has a meaning, provide a value, It's also about product ownership, about the perception of the people, and the goal to reach is for such as utility, means if it's useful, Then it's also about, when we say utility, useful is about its features, its function, right? Then if it's easy to use, easy to read, right? And if it allows you to work efficiently, So I also did some research. I saw a research report by Onward Research. Currently, around user experience, there are some positions. The one is a user researcher. When you apply for a job, you can get a job for user research. By doing that, you will research about market, research about target users, what they want. We normally say 5 wives and 1 husband, means why, when, where, which, and how, blah blah. That's how user research do. Or you will do usability analysis, and you will conduct testing. Then you will write report. You will. That's mainly about usability. To test the different use case. If it's, all the features be able to be proceed to be finished in an easy way, or any bugs come out, information architect, this type of job normally is for you to clean up the structure of a system, understand, to design the architecture from the tasks, from users' behavior, or have some interaction designers to design the interactions, or visual designer to design the graphics, or we call it UX designer. So you basically understand a little bit of everything, So
Which is the most important?
I think the most important thing is that you really understand the user, So you really know how to create something that will attract them, and they will even indict to it that they cannot refuse your product, and they are willing to buy, they're willing to spend, So this report also says some skills you want to know, but don't be scared by this. I don't think that's a must. It's I know many companies require that, like you got to understand HTML, markup or CSS, But maybe for design background people, that's not easy for you guys, Or even some people require JavaScript. Forget about that. No worry. But the layout, the interface, interaction, usability testing, I think those kind of things you guys need to know how to understand the users, research users, how to build a prototype, how to do the interface, how to do the testing to understand the users. Even though we just said we have different scope people, but that's only for big companies. Big companies, they have different roles, and I don't agree with that. My understanding is that as a designer, you got to go from beginning to the end. Otherwise, there's always a loss. When you pass the information from a researcher to a designer, or from a designer to a project manager, or to a project development team, there's always some information may be lost. So I always believe in that a designer should go from beginning to the end until the launch of the product. Right. So this report also put some tools. Some tools we may talk about in this class, and you don't have to know everything of them. Like research. There are so many tools. I only use Mori. Mori is a tool for you to study users. Like it's a software that, for example, these two computers both need to install this software, and it has one called recorder, one called observer, Mori recorder and Mori recorder. So when you are using your recorder, you are playing a new application on your computer, or playing with a new website. And I'm here with the recorder, and I will say how many mistakes you have just made, and how many times you spend for each use case, blah blah. And I get all the data, then it helps me to generate analyze the report. So personally, I would recommend Mori. It's a very good tool, and it's very simple. Of course, you can also go to Google Analytics, or other stuff I haven't been using. Design tools, of course, you got to know some basic graphic software, Photoshop, Illustrator, or if you know some Flash, that'd be great, especially if you know some Flash Action Script, But prototyping, they put so many tools. Actually, I think Axure should be here. Axure is the product I use for prototyping, and I think it's a very good tool. Of course, some companies Whistle, and I know actually Mockingbird is also a very simple tool to use to do markup for mobile phones. Yeah. And the books for this class, I recommend 2 books on the syllabus you will find out. One is the Design for Interaction, which was the former professor who teach this class been using. So I think that's a good book too, so I didn't replace.
I was just curious if this is going to be a desire to learn the PowerPoint that you have.
No, actually, I'm not going to talk about these 2 books. It's just for you guys.
The slides, can you send out the slides to the class?
Sure, but it's very big. I don't know if I have a way to upload somewhere you guys can download. Is that one?
Yeah, on Desire to Learn, you can upload the slides and then we can download them.
Yeah, do that. Yeah.
Wait, but did you say that we're not going to be looking at these books, or we are?
You guys will look at these books, I suggest. And also, from next class, I would like to have you guys to come here to present some of what you have learned from reading for each chapter. Every class will have several people come here to talk. And I wouldn't talk about these 2 books because you can read, no need me to read for you, right?
Right.
Yeah, unless you need something to discuss with me, Yeah. So these 2 books I've been reading, so I know it's a good book for you to understand the process. So that's why I also recommend you guys to read a project guide to UX design. It also talks about process, about how to do prototyping, how to do testing, So it's good while we are going step by step, and you guys also read chapter by chapter, and then I will talk. But my talk will mainly based on my experience and my understanding, And I also encourage you guys to have your own understanding about users. That kind of thing nobody can replace. Nobody can replace you. That's why nobody can replace jobs. Right? Because it's hard to tell. It's hard to teach. You have to feel it when you're doing it. It's not about mathematics thing. It's not. It even don't have a right answer. The only way to validate your understanding about the market and about the user is if you make money. Is if your product sells. Yeah. So that's why those 2 guys wrote these 2 books, and I think they already at a very senior level. They already have a good understanding. Some points I may not agree. I also have my own understanding, and I don't mind if you guys have your understanding. So the grading is a standard SJSU grading way. Class participation, quiz, and the readings. Good thing is I wouldn't give you guys any quiz. The design work will be important. We have many assignments, right? The project milestones. So I put an except. Except is that I just said a good product is a product that sells, right? So if this class I got a sponsor from a company, so he going to put a DBA scholarship. So the vendor, no matter what the percentage are, going to be A+. Okay. The rest of people will be based on this, So if you want to be exception, make your product sell, Yeah. So yeah. So that's why how I interpret my class. There was a story said one day there was one very poor guy. So he prayed to God. He said, "Make me rich," So God appeared to him. God said, "Okay, I give you some piece of gold." So he pointed at the piece of stone, and the stone became a gold. He said, "I give this to you," and that guy said, "No, I don't want it." Then God pointed at the bigger stone, said, "Okay, that becomes a stone, gold. Now take that." He said, "I don't want that." So God said, "Don't be too greedy. If you are too greedy, I make you get nothing. The guy said, "I want your finger." So they also in China said, if you want to help somebody, instead of giving him fish, a hungry guy, instead of giving him fish, teach him how to fish, how to catch fish. So I would say this class is about the golden finger, because we all know California is a place for us to dig gold, right? Silicon Valley is a place for us to dig gold from the internet, from the mobile internet. So I hope this class will lead you the way to find your gold in California, in beautiful, Silicon Valley, And we all know this land is a piece of dreamland that maybe tomorrow you can become a billionaire. It's gonna happen, right? We all know that Instagram just sold them to Facebook for $1 billion, and they only have like 7 people, 12 people, right? 6 people. Now when they sold these, a little bit over 10 people. Work for 500 days, less than 2 years, and sold for $1 billion. Is that possible? It's possible. It's already happened. But why? So many people made applications. So many people made apps. Why they succeed? That's what we need to learn. We need to find out through this class, through future. We increase with so many apps, be understanding the market, understanding the users. Then one day your apps will attract a lot of users. You will make $1 billion. That's okay. And I would say that's possible, among us, right? That's why I come from Beijing to Silicon Valley. I come here to dig gold. And I'm willing to dig gold with you guys.